Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds. Melanie's got a couple of clicks she's got to make here with the mouse. We got to get the Instagram people going, and we've got the TikTok people going, and Facebook and YouTube, of course. So, welcome in to the November 2024 Wild Bird Update. And yes, bird feeder season's finally back. I kind of always consider the official start of bird feeder season early November, and it just seems to be pretty regular for us here in Kansas City. Now, you guys up north have probably had birds coming in here for longer than we have, because our birds are really just starting to come in decent numbers. So obviously tonight we're going to talk a lot about the start of the bird feeding season, what you guys are seeing in your part of the country. And as always, we want to welcome you in and introductions. I am Mark McKellar, owner of the Backyard Bird Center in Kansas City. And I love this YouTube channel. You guys have given me so much pleasure by allowing me to be part of your daily lives and helping educate you about the birds that I love so much. The producer wife, Melanie, is sitting here beside me, and the producer dog, Sophie, is in the chair, and you'll probably hear her as she tends to vocalize with her communication skills all during the evening. So, as always, thanks for joining us. And if you would, when you're checking in, please let us know where you're checking in from. That really helps me. Of course, I always say, we're here in Kansas City in the heart of the country, right in the middle. And whenever we're talking about topics and answering questions, it really helps to let us know where you're checking in from, so I can actually answer things more accurately, because things vary from east to west and north to south and every direction in between. So you guys are great about doing that, and it really helps us. And of course, I've already seen communication going on between comments between you guys that are regulars, and you gotten to know each other via this channel, which is great. And we really appreciate it. And I know with the start of bird feeder season and the online store, we have more and more support. We really do appreciate that, because it does, to be able to do these, I have to keep the online store going and the brick and mortar store. And you guys have been great about ordering stuff to help support us, and we really appreciate that. And if you would, again, it helps us in the channel if you do give us a like and a share and let people know about these programs and spread the word, and it keeps the channel growing, and that's really, really important. We do appreciate all the support you give us. So let's see, that I always do this at the first, because we like to get people time to check in. But I think tonight, just to outline a little bit, we are going to talk about the start of the bird feeder season, and we're going to talk about some of the problems that come with it and some solutions for that. And we're going to do a species focus on one of the raptors that comes in the winter, that lesser known to a lot of people, or he's going to be our species focus toward the end. So with that, let's see who's checking in. I see that Miss Carrie's checking in, my good friend and store manager. And she has been out of town the last couple, so she's joining us in for a while. Hi, Steve. I know you've been off for a couple of last episodes, so I'm welcome you back in. And yes, you telling me about that belted kingfisher you have, and they are great. I call them the woodpeckers of the water world. The belted kingfishers are just absolute joys, and they will stick around almost all the way through the winter in our area. And I bet in your area, they'll probably leave during the worst part of winter, especially if a lot of freezing over. They have to get to where there's unfrozen water for them to continue to hunt all through the winter. And let's see who you guys are talking back and forth. I love it. Love it. All right. Hi, Jan. Looking at from Belton, just south of Kansas City here. Welcome in. Hi, Keith from Houston, a real regular visitor on the channel. Welcome, Carol and Jay up there in Platte County, which is just north of us. And the Boston guy, I wonder where he's from. Just kidding. Welcome in. All right, let's see. The Brewers Oh, and North Carolina, you finally got time to make it. Good. Yeah, we're in North Carolina. I'm from Red Springs, North Carolina. Melanie and I are near Fayetteville. Hello, Kurt. Welcome in.
So that's me saying hi.
Oh, that's Melanie. All right. All right. From Greenwood, Indiana. Welcome, Kathy. Always good to see you join in with us. Baked and salty. I love it. Saw your first Juncos Monday. Yep, they're starting to roll in now, and that's one of the birds that I'm definitely going to be talking about tonight. That's for sure. Hi, Sandy from Kankakee, Illinois. Thank you for the pictures you've been posting on the community page. Billy Blast from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Actually, welcome from the up north, well north of us. I want to know how things are going up north. I'm going to pose that question for you people who live in bear country. Is it time you guys can get your feeders out now? Is it safe that the bears are gone to hibernation? I know a lot of people have to work around them with their bird feeder stations. So wondering if you're in that situation. Okay, Robin from Paquoson, Virginia. That is an interesting name for sure. Welcome in. Back in, by the way, peanut butter is busy and bluebirds are eating dogwood berries and milk. Absolutely. Yeah, they'll take advantage of those dogwood berries as long as they last in the fall. Hi, Dan from Iowa City, Iowa. Welcome in. All right. Let's see. Yes, producer Melanie is back. She's been traveling and hi, Mike Dittmer from Parkville, Missouri. And some of you know that I was out. I had to have a medical procedure, and I know there were some well wishes on that the last time we were on live, and everything went well. Just to let you know, it was all good. So yep, got through that, and Melanie's back from North Carolina and taking care of family business there. So we thank you all for your support. Hi, Brian Voorhees from Leavenworth, Kansas. Joel Burbank from Richmond, Virginia. Beautiful, beautiful town. I love the Richmond's beautiful. Hi, Julie Wu from Massachusetts. Let's see. We get caught up here and we'll get started. All right. Super warm here in Maryland, mid 70s. Oh, from Statesville, Missouri. Yes. I mean, North Carolina. Sorry. Tip of the slung. Yeah, Statesville. Know where that is. Been there. Tyler, Texas. Hi, Kate. Welcome in. Chapman from upstate South Carolina. All right. I bet you're in the hilly country up there. Is what it sounds like. Lured a pair of tufted titmice away from the neighbor's oak tree. Yeah. They have figured out that they can depend on me for seeds. So now they are coming several times a day. They are opportunistic and very smart. The whole chickadee titmouse family, they know how to take advantage of free food. Carol Begosh Keller from Maryland. Welcome in. Silva, North Carolina, 40 minutes from Asheville. Oh, my goodness. I sure hope you survived that storm terribly. Wondering about skunks being attracted to my bird feeders and the seed on the ground. My dogs have been sprayed twice. Yikes. I'm so sorry. I think we've dealt with that in North Carolina ourselves when we were there. Typically, they're not attracted to the seed, but they are attracted to the grubs and things that and the mulch there that they're that are attracted that are come up to decompose the seed, and they dig. You see those little divots they dig in the ground under your feeders. That's typically what they're after. I'm not saying they wouldn't take advantage of some of the seed down there, but yeah, again, that's a situation where the best you can do at keeping seed off the ground, and especially seed hulls and the mulch that forms underneath there and that soft soil. Using trays and hull of seeds are probably it will help aid in that situation with those skunks. So, well, the start of bird feeder season. Oh my goodness, here they are. The first slide that I put in there to remind me to talk about it is one of Carrie's. This is a fall robin picture here. A beautiful shot because a lot of people still believe that all robins fly south for the winter, and they still believe they're the first sign of spring. Well, one of the reasons I like to talk about robins in this this time of year in November, and what's happening here? Okay. is that robins do migrate, but they don't. They don't all leave like a lot of people think. Robins change their feeding habits in the fall. Obviously, once the weather gets colder and the ground gets harder and the worms go deeper into the soil during the colder parts of the winter, you don't get the robins running around in your front yard and getting the worms out of the ground. But what they do, like this picture captures, is they do move out into the woodlands and they sift under the leaf litter. And I've told the story on here, I know in the past, about one of my first winters here in Missouri. I was leading a bird hike out at Burrock Woods Nature Center, and we were kind of way back in the trail that winds through the deeper woods, and it looked like the forest floor was boiling. I mean, God, it was just like the leaves were just moving and moving and moving. And every once in a while, this robin would stick his head up through the leaves and then to disappear again. And they're sifting under that leaf litter because it's wet under there. And it's also, it doesn't freeze as easily. And so there are worms and insects under that leaf litter, even getting pretty cold in the winter. And their robins are down there taking advantage of it. Now, of course, the other thing that attracts robins in winter are berries. So, what determines as to how many robins are going to be in your area in the winter, a lot of times is the availability of what we call soft mass, which is the berries, the dogwood berries, the cedar berries, things like that. Robins depend on those heavily in winter, but they also take advantage of all that leaf litter and underneath there. And I know there's a lot of memes up there on Facebook about, don't rake your leaves up. Don't get rid of your leaves. Leaf litter is so important to a lot of things, a lot of insects and a lot of birds. And so that's what happens for a lot of us. Now, in a really dry year here in the Kansas City region, and the fruit tree, the berry trees don't produce very well, then those robins do pass on through. But if there's a good soft mass crop, sometimes we'll have thousands upon thousands of robins in our area in the winter, but again, not hanging around in people's front yards. So people think they're gone. So it depends on where you live and what your situation is, but you probably have robins all winter and sometimes in really, really good numbers. And of course, the other bird that is part of that is the same type of situation of the bluebirds. Bluebirds are so dependent on soft mass berries in the winter that and in the winter that you've got tons of robins, you probably have tons of bluebirds as well. So just our hike, a week or two ago when we were out at Smithville Lake, we saw several flocks of bluebirds. And I mean, some were 15 bluebirds in it. Some had 6 bluebirds in it. And then we run to another group. And those are those northern birds that are moving down this time of year. They escape the harshest winters of north, and then they move down. And some go as far as the deep south. You guys down in the southern states get a lot more bluebirds in winter. And again, for us here in Missouri, it depends a lot on how harsh the weather is to the north and how the water stays open, much stays here with berries. So and I love this picture for a couple of reasons. One, it is, of course, I'm going to talk about water. I always do. It's time to get those heated bird baths out, or those bird bath de-icers, and get that set up because the temperatures are falling. And so many birds, robins are one, well, basically all birds. But when it comes to like robins and bluebirds, especially, and cedar waxwings, those type of birds if they can find those berry sources, yeah, they love it here. But the key to their survival most of the time is unfrozen water. So you have to have a source for them. One, to attract them, but of course to help them survive. Because once the weather really freezes over, even in sanctuaries and preserves and things like that, unfrozen water is scarce for them. So make sure you got your bird bath de-icers out and cleaned up and ready to go. If you have one of the the metal de-icers, like donuts that you put in your bird baths, if they're coated in white chalky stuff, calcium buildup, soak those in a really strong vinegar water solution and scrub them with a toothbrush or something to get some of that off of there. That'll increase the longevity of the bird bath deicer, and of course they'll work more efficiently. So make sure you get that ready for them if you haven't already, because those are really, really important. So that's the first part that I wanted to cover tonight is, those birds that, we're really seeing, and some that depend on us, maybe not for our seed, but for our water and our landscaping, of course, which is really, really important. You know where we are?
Yeah, right there. This one.
This one? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Greg from Springfield, Missouri. What a great town. I love Springfield, Greg. 30 plus Juncos. Yes, with your prairie planting, Kurt, those wild seeds. And we always talk about Juncos. And speaking of Juncos, let's go ahead and put him up here. When the Juncos come in the fall, we do a lot of bird watching in the fall with groups. We almost always see Juncos in the fields and like in Kurt's backyard where he's got it converted to a natural prairie area. The Juncos come in first. Typically, and they're taking advantage of natural seed that's out there. And then when the conditions gets harsher, is when Juncos start to show up at our bird feeder stations, especially whenever there's snow cover, things like that. I had Junco on the deck yesterday, and so I brought some of my ground through and put it out for them because we love it when they come in. So, and I've had questions lately about the different races of Juncos, and I do have a program. I can put a link in the description about that because I know, like I said, you guys up in the Pacific Northwest and the Rocky Mountain regions in the Southwest, there's a different race of them up in the Black Hills of South Dakota called the White Wing Junco, and I do have a program where I cover those so it can help you maybe distinguish which race you have where you are. Here in Missouri, we almost 90% of our birds, if not more, are the slate colored Juncos like this one, but we also get the Oregon Juncos as well, which are the black headed ones. So that might be a video you want to watch if you've not watched the Junco video before. And let's see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. You kind of get nervous about some things like that. And it was all good news. So multiple people on the Illinois Hummingbird Watchers Facebook page have posted pics of a rufous. Yes, I saw a picture. I saw a picture of a rufous posted from maybe Pennsylvania this week. Again, you never say never and you never say always. I don't know if you guys saw or not, but we had in Lawrence, Kansas, which is less than an hour from here, there was what was it? Brambling, a European, and a bird that lives from Northern Europe all the way across Asia, was at a feeder in Lawrence, Kansas, here in the middle of the country. You talk about a bird is out of the way. So you can never say never, never say always. And yes, hummingbirds, they're always late hummingbirds. There's always early hummingbirds and rufous hummingbirds, which survive cold weather up where they nest up in the high mountains. They tend to be able to survive in colder conditions and can linger longer. Like we had one here till Thanksgiving one year in Kansas City a few years ago. So that's really cool that you have a rufous. Yes, ma'am. Hello, Andrew. Welcome in from Cincinnati, Ohio. It sounds interesting. Kentucky. I was trying to Kentucky nurse. All right, I got you. Yeah, I was trying to pronounce that like a name. Sorry.
Okay, let's see here.
All right, Bob McLeod, Northern Lower Peninsula. Oh, Michigan. Welcome in. Yeah, getting a little cooler up there. Yeah, I think the skunks do. If you've got them, they'll find it. That's for sure. Skunks are great mousers. I worked with a guy for years who said his dad always kept skunks around his farm. He loved having them there because they were better at catching and digging up mouse nests than even cats or snakes were. So he loved having the skunks around. Bill Blast. The Juncos have been around the yard for about a month. Yeah. But less of them now. At one point, they took over my ground feeder station from the Sparrows. That's wonderful. Yeah, sometimes those Juncos continue to move south. It depends on natural food availability. One of the things that I'm really worried about, and I've said this before, earlier this year, that I'm really worried about how dry it is in the Kansas City region. That as these birds arrive, and if their natural water sources are very, very dry, which a lot of them are here because we've had so little rain, I'm afraid a lot of these birds that would normally stay here in the winter, like Juncos and white-throated sparrows and those guys will move further south, and we'll be without them during the heart of the winter because of how dry it is here. Speaking of which, how about this guy? Yep, the white-throated sparrow, beautiful shot by James Bandis. He haven't seen him on yet tonight. I bet he will be. Hopefully, will be. But yeah, the native sparrows are on the move, and hopefully we've got enough water sources that will keep them happy. Hopefully, natural food for them, and they're coming in. And look for the white-throated sparrows, white-crowned sparrows, Harris sparrows, Lincoln sparrows, American tree sparrows. If you know me, I'm a sparrow nut. So, and got videos. If you can see behind me, the winter sparrows article I wrote many years ago. But hopefully the conditions are so these guys will stick around for us. Yeah, exactly. That's me. Thank you so much. I'll do more cleanup.
So it's the one with the
the skunk thing. Yep, that raking up seed holes frequently and doing as much as you can to keep that seed off the ground. And I'm gonna tie this into another part of the program tonight. I did a video a week or two ago about people always asking about do bird feeders attract mice? Do they attract rats? My husband won't let me feed because he says bird feeders attract rats. Well, I don't believe that's true. I don't think that because you feed birds, you're gonna have so many more people that feed birds that have never seen a rat but what the video is about is how to help you prevent that from happening. And that I talk about, keeping it clean under your feeders, and again, using trays, using hull of seed, raking up any debris that may get down there if you do have a mouse problem, because probably they're in your area. And yes, by there being free seed on the ground, eventually they'll find that. But you're not going to tell me that a mouse from 30 miles away is going to come to your yard because there's some bird seed on the ground. So, but you do need to help with that. And one of the things I want to put a picture up here is I talked about being careful. I usually recommend, of course, brush piles near your feeders if you're wide open out there and the birds don't feel safe. And this is Carrie's yard that where she built this brush pile. And the one thing I really want you to pay attention to here is notice how she doesn't have anything on the ground under the brush pile. So if you were to build a brush pile and on the bottom of it, and a typical wildlife brush pile for rabbits and animals like that is you crisscross log pieces underneath at the base of it, and then you do your limbs in a teepee like that. Well, if you eliminate those crisscross pieces on the bottom, because that gives mice and rats a place to hide. Like I said, in nature, out in the wild, that's a great brush pile for mammals to escape. But if for birds, all they need is a mass of limbs to interrupt hawks and things from being able to catch them in there. So a brush pile without anything on the ground will help you when it comes to possibly keeping it open so the mice aren't attracted to it. So I just wanted to put that in there because I didn't mention that in the video the other day. I said, you don't want a brush pile if you're thinking about creating it and you got mouse problems. Don't do that. Don't give them those places to hide down there. But an open brush pile like this is very good. And that was I wish I'd have put that in a video. So that's to help you there. Hello from Ruth from Lacine. Hello, Ellie. Yep, down the street. She is a really dedicated person. If you've never used the Squirrel Away Zero Waste that we have it on the online store, it's a really good seed mix. And it really works against keeping the mammals away, the squirrel. Here's the link to the community page. Welcome. I'm trying to convince my hubby to leave the leaves on the ground all winter. You bet. Yeah, it is. It really does help. And then, the old yard where I was at before we moved into the new place here, we had tons of trees and a wild area behind us. And, when I did the leaves in the fall, I would just push them back into that area. So maybe in the yard was clean, but there was tons of leaves out there right behind us from to escape into it. Hello, Bill Trolt from Greenville, Texas. Bluebirds.
You talked about this one.
Yeah. Is the bit okay? Absolutely. Yep. All right. The Upper Peninsula, welcome in. I'm a deer hunter. I always see different birds in the woods, but I do at home. No Juncos at my feeders. I saw a group of 20 plus this morning in the woods. Absolutely. Yeah. Habitat is everything. And a buddy of mine was a big turkey hunter. And he talked about in the spring, being out there in full camouflage and sitting really still, how many of the birds, the forest birds, would come and be hopping on his feet and all around him, towhees and things like that. That's how he learned a lot of birds, from his days. And yes, when it comes to the thicker woods and habitat, you're going to get different groups of birds than you do in your yard.
And I did post it.
And she did. Absolutely. I love it. Absolutely. Made it downtown. Yep. Oh, all the way down there. They keep moving down. You'll get them when they're snow covering the ground. Yep, absolutely. That's when they get pushed in. How do I attract clinging birds to my suet feeder? The Carolina chickies and the red-bellied woodpeckers will feed from my tray. Suet this time of year, Key, is not as heavily visited, because a lot of it has to do with what seed and still having insects available, especially down your way. There's plenty of insects available, I'm sure. So your suet feeders a lot of times are slower this time of year. They don't kick in till again, the insect numbers are down because of cold weather, and of course acorns are a competition for that too. So it depends on what food's available to them. So you're going to get the suet feeder will definitely be busier, but a little bit later. It's a little early for suet to be super effective. You like to have it out, for the ones like you said, the chickadees, and not only you would have black crested titmouse down there. And yes, the downies and red bellies, but your suet will get much busier when it comes to the later end of the feeder season, not so much early. Eruption. So jealous. Evening grosbeaks are just gorgeous, and it looks like you're going to have a good year up there. I know that they're talking about a good year. Purple finches moving way down here for us. So yeah. Send some of those evening grosbeaks down our way, please. My fox found the mouse nest. Take care. Absolutely. That's what they do. Those natural predators. Melanie has posted for the squirrel away. Okay.
Yeah. I did it to clarify. So they knew what I was doing. You go.
Last year I had a couple of fox sparrows all winter. They returned. You saw my video that I posted from it was U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Whoever had that video of that fox sparrow scratching under the feeder, I thought it was actually really, really great. And absolutely. Well, speaking of suet, Key brought that up. So here I go. I want to definitely talk about suet, because this is absolutely one of the most common questions in one of our most viewed videos on YouTube, and that is about suet and keeping starlings off of suet. This is a classic suet cage with a hairy woodpecker and a European starling on top. And we called the starlings the biker gangs, and how do you dissuade them from destroying your suet cages? Because they're able to. He can sit right there on top. He can lean over and he can peck on that suet cake. Whereas you can see how the woodpeckers usually cling to the side. That's just how they feed. And I know, I talk about, I recommend using a upside down suet feeder so that the suet is exposed from the bottom. And yes, I do know this is not 100% effective, because the starlings, they kind of get adapted to it, but mostly what they do is they try to hover and poke up the suet cake underneath there, but they can't, because of their body weight and their toes. They have a hard time for clinging upside down for very long. So it really, really slows them down. So suspending your suet cakes like this, and upside down suet feeder. Now, I have a friend who brought in and showed me something he's experimenting with, and I want to do a video on this. on how to discourage the starlings from even trying to feed on it. And it has to do with a plastic coffee can lid and a hole punched through it, and it's suspended from underneath the suet cage on the bottom, so that it hangs there underneath. And he says, so far in his experimentation, the starlings leave it totally alone. He said the other birds just go right up there and hang upside down and feed away and don't even pay attention to the suspended the coffee can lid. But the starlings have really left it alone. So we're going to do a little bit more time with it to make sure it's holding up. And then I want to do a video on how to rig that up. But if you guys want to give it a try, he uses a little chain through the hole in the lid so that it hangs fairly level. So that may be something you might want to try.
Right here, Kurt.
All right, let's see.
Right here.
All right. We have too many hawks that have rats and mice. That is the natural solution to rats and mice. Absolutely. You love it to have them around helping. Derek from Illinois. Welcome in, Derek. I know you're a regular. Can you clarify storing seed either indoors or outdoor? Absolutely. My number one video on YouTube is don't store your bird seed inside. I am a firm believer in not keeping your bird seed inside. No matter what anybody will tell you, you cannot keep the flower moths, the Mediterranean meal moths, pantry moths, whatever you want to call them, out of bird seed. The eggs are laid in the field or in the processing or in the storage at warehouses and everything else. And those eggs are going to hatch whenever the temperatures are consistently warm enough. And so you keep bird seed in your house in the winter months, all of a sudden you're going to see these, well, anytime, you're going to see these moths start to peel up here flying around, the little white caterpillars. And again, I've done a couple, 3 videos on this topic. So I say always only store your bird seed outside in a metal container, because even mice can chew through plastic containers. They get into the bird seed. Squirrels certainly can do it. And then once there's a little hole, raccoons will rip them open. So keep them in metal trash cans, metal seed containers outside in the shady areas. In the winter, you don't have to worry about, the warm temperatures, so you keep that bird seed outside. If you have raccoon problems, if they're smart enough to get the lid off of your seed containers, use a bungee cord across from handle to handle to keep it on there. But that's a great question. Do not store your bird seed inside. I tell a story of their daughter brought home a Christmas ornament from church one Sunday, and she stuck it in the little pantry. We didn't know about it. And next thing you know, we had those moths coming out of the pantry flying around, and we found the ornament. And so, we spent, I don't know, how long was it? 3 months getting rid of
vacuum cleaners, suctioning them out of the popcorn.
Yep. Yeah.
I just tried to post the link to that video too. So.
Oh yeah. Emily's trying to get a link up to that video there so you can see that about not keeping the bird seed inside. I've been enjoying lots of Juncos, but no native sparrows yet. Yep. The starlings are coming around, and they always make things a bit frustrating. Yep. Good. Yeah, I know. You're right, Jan. The motorcycle gangs, the starlings, they're going to be there. I typically don't have problems with them until it gets really, really harsh. But they love suet, and I've had a lot of people that just don't feed suet while the starlings are around, and then they're gone for a while. They'll put the suet back out, but they are truly opportunistic birds, and they're part of bird feeding, and that's unfortunate. Cage feeders work really well against them. They don't like safflower very much, so there's seeds you can choose. The upside down suet feeders, there's cage suet feeders, so there are ways to battle them, that's for sure. A person who works at local bird store here in the city told me bird seed that has heat is not good for their gut. I do not believe that. Billy, that's not been proven. I mean, I do not believe that until I see some scientific evidence for that. The hot stuff has been around for a very long time, and the birds who eat that, their populations are as high as ever. So it doesn't. I'm sorry, but a lot of people put in, their human feelings and human when it comes to things like the hot seed. And like you said, they don't taste it. they in the wild, birds eat hot peppers. I mean, they eat the seeds. They eat, and that stuff is super hot, and they don't, and it doesn't bother them. And we talk about them not having very much saliva in their mouths and things. So, Billy, until I see some scientific evidence, like I said, I've researched it and found there's no evidence that this is true. So, Trish and John are here from Southern Alabama. Welcome in. We've had a few dark-eyed Juncos at our feeders recently. We put out our bird houses, but no takers yet. Yeah, now the bird houses, I think they would only be roosting in this time of year, and I wonder. I don't think your Juncos are going to use them at all. Your bird houses that are going to be chickadees and Carolina wrens, maybe a Downy woodpecker, and I think those type. The cavity nesting birds will often use cavities to roost in at night. Juncos are not one of those, so they're going to roost in a thick bush somewhere. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Welcome in, Deborah. Bluebird pair showed up at the second floor. Yep, balcony yesterday. They nested there last year. That's cool. So I put them in the nest box this morning. In minutes, they were back. And another pair as well. This time of year, it'd be uncommon for them to nest. Of course, they always are on the lookout for potential nesting cavities, even in winter. But again, they may roost in it at night during these colder months, and then in the early spring, especially down there, you're looking at them moving in, and they may be start nesting in late February, early March, depending on the kind of winter you have.
There's some more bluebird questions.
When bluebirds migrate from northeast Ohio, mine are still hanging out at this. Chased off a red squirrel today. That was nice. They're very good, very straightforward. Yeah, they'll check out these boxes, but I can't imagine any of those nestings laying eggs this time of year. So it may be, again, like I was saying, potential roosting spots, and if they nested there, they may be hanging on with it for little territoriality. Yeah, lots of close encounters with birds. If you still, 100 hours. Like last week, I had a male kestrel landing close than 10 feet. That's cool. I had a good buddy who was deer hunting in North Carolina who almost got knocked out of a tree by a great horned owl one morning. He climbed up in his deer stand, and this great horned owl slammed into him. And when the sun got up, if he could see the great horn was sitting there beside him on the tree limb. So, yeah, you blend right in.
So this person is saying, is this a bluebird? Will you go put the bluebirds back up? Because I don't know if she's lily pad. Is this a bluebird? Will they nest in our birdhouses? So I said so they can see
the bluebirds. Yeah, this is the bluebird picture. The males, of course, are the brighter blue with the brighter redder chest, and the females are much softer. The one in the back there on the left is the female. And they should nest in your house. Where are you, lily pad? They're not going to nest this time of year. Like I said, we're past the nesting season for them. We're just going to be spring before they're going to, because they got to know there's going to be enough insects to raise those young. Now, you guys that live in the deep, deep South, I don't know that you have them nesting down there in the winter. I just don't think I don't see that. We never did in North Carolina. I know that where I spent, but I don't know how early. Like purple martins return in January in Florida and Louisiana and those Gulf Coast states, and so they start making nests that early. But this time of year, they're just not there. So, what a great idea, Starlings. Yep, that's right. The coffee lid would be. I think you should try it. I'm looking forward to doing the video and try to show you how to make those. All right, please don't forget. Thank you, Steve. Absolutely, believe me, those likes help, and especially shares are great for us. Let people know about us. The channel was really slow the last week or so, and I know the election had people occupied, and they were like, but I couldn't believe how we had a big dip in views on the YouTube channel this last week, and now it's starting to go back up. So appreciate any help. I mean, you spread the word. Once more, the apartment, you will never get
the
rid
moths. Oh my gosh, I'll never forget succeeding with the vacuum cleaner.
I had one customer who worked for an extermination company, and he said when they would go in to have to for people, that they would not guarantee their work unless they threw away everything out of their pantry, all their food, because they can lay their eggs anywhere and hatch. So yeah, don't risk getting the moth problem in your apartment or your house. Yeah, keep your seed outside. So disadvantage using seed cakes in the winter versus loose. Today, try it. My chickadees seem annoyed again. Julie, that's a good question. I'm not the biggest fan of the seed cylinders and cakes. I have people who love them, absolutely dedicated to them, buy them all the time. Yes, they're much cleaner. I've just found that I think they're better for people that's all they feed. If you offer both, then I think most birds are going to choose the loose seed because they can pick up and throw down, pick up, and whereas they have to pry that seed off of the cylinder. So I know there's going to be people on here who just absolutely love the seed cylinders. My Carolina Wrens love the seed cylinders, which is a great thing. But for the most part, I think loose seed is preferred by a lot of birds because they can get it and fly away quickly. Like the chickadees are so funny, that. So yeah, I don't know if it's a disadvantage, but I think they're. I just think they like the loose seed a little more.
Billy says thanks.
Absolutely, Billy. All right.
And then this is about roosting.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So.
Hey, Kayla. Yeah, the roosting boxes and the roosting pockets. I do love the providing some of those. If you don't, if you have a lot of really good landscaping, thick bush cover, the birds are going to use that. But Carolina Wrens like to get up in those nooks and crannies up under your deck and up under the eaves and places like that. And I love putting roosting pockets up in those roosting boxes. They're great, but I haven't had a lot of testimony or seen myself of birds using them really well. I've seen birds stacked inside of a Bluebird box, and it hasn't been converted. There's some incredible stories of especially like the chickadee group and things and Bluebird groups stacked together in a box. So it helps, but like I said, it's a great idea. I don't know how well they get used. Yep.
Tell her I just posted the link to the pockets on our.
Melanie just posted a link to the roosting pockets from the online store, so you can look at those.
See what they look like.
They've been selling really well the last few weeks. Carrie's had to reorder them like 3 times because we've been selling out. So are you getting cold? Yep. They might have another brood, but it's too late for that. I would think so. I really don't think they're going to have a brood this late. Although, again, remember, birds lay eggs on command. And if they think, if they're in a situation where the weather's warm enough and they lay eggs and they lay a brood and then it gets too cold and they can't and they abandon it, they really haven't wasted much. And so even if they try this late, which would be really, really late, but you never know. Again, my rule, never say never and never say always. Absolutely. All right. A pair of chickadees show back up at my feeders. Haven't seen them for a while. Yeah, they'll be back. I guarantee it. I saw this, which reminded me why I put this picture of a cardinal in. Mary sent me an article that is fascinating to me as a biologist, and hopefully you'll find it interesting. They've documented for the first time that they know of a cardinal using a tool, or in this case, a weapon. Okay. There's a cardinal seeing his reflection, and how your cardinals bang into a window to chase away that rival in the territory. Well, they've documented this cardinal picking up a rock in his bill and hitting the window, like he thinks he's hitting that rival cardinal in the window. So he's actually using a weapon per se to try to run off that meal. Again, as far as we know, that has never been documented in wild birds. Especially birds like cardinals. We know that crows will use tools and things of that, like pry things out, and there's some of that goes on. But use it physically against another bird, that was crazy. She sent me that article, and it's a scientific journal. It's well documented, so that was really pretty crazy. Again, you never say never and you never say always. All right. So I did that. I just saw the picture and it reminded me why I put that in there. And of course, this time of year, we're always excited about the waterfowl returning. And this is when they really start to pour into our area from you guys up north. As you start to freeze, the waterfowl gets pushed down. This is some white-fronted geese mixed in with Canadas. And our biggest refuge here in Northwest Missouri, and those start to pour in. We were at Smithville Lake Sunday ago. I think we're there this Sunday too. I think, and the waterfowl. We look forward to seeing the ducks and that are going to, and the geese that are pouring in. We had lots of American white pelicans, things like that. So if you're this time of year is when you want to go out to your wildlife refuges. If you want to enjoy seeing the ducks and the geese and the swans and the eagles that come in, this is a wonderful time to be out looking for that. And then I promised a bird, a species focus. This is a rough-legged hawk. Now, these are a little bit larger than red-tailed hawks. They're not nearly as common as red-tails in most of the range, and they are very northern in nature. And they come down in winter. And some years we have a lot more than others, but the rough-legged hawk is a beautiful bird. And they something really unique about them is they're ones that actually truly do hover. If the wind's blowing hard at a red-tailed hawk, it can canter against the wind, as we call it. But these birds technically they really do hover like a kestrel over their prey and then drop down on them. So it's one of the ways you pick them out. But I call them the Y hawks. And if you'll notice that really, and the perched picture, you see that really dark belly band, just really, really solid. And most red-tailed hawks never have that solid. They usually have that broken belt look to them across there, but a really dark belly band. And then in the flight, you can see he's got black up here under the wrist, and then he's got black across the tail. So the two wristbands, the belly, and the black across the tail, to me, that is the Y hawk. It's the figure of a hawk. And you can see the white in the primaries in flight in the upper right picture there. They are one you want to be looking for, because I always say, if you think it's a red tail, because there's so many red tails in winter along roadsides and they're just by far the most common large hawk that we have. But I'm always on the lookout every winter for rough-leggeds to be mixed in with them. They're, like I said, they're northern in nature, and they do come down. It just depends how far they get worked down into our area and into the plains. And I know in the east, and I've seen them in California, so I do know that they come well down the well spread.
I think right here, Derek says he has a pair of chickadees.
All right. Yep, I saw that. Yep.
Okay.
The chickadees come in again. Like I said, I really do believe
she was asking about the bluebird. South Alabama.
Post. Yeah. You can't post a picture in here, unfortunately. You can send it to.
I put it in there, your email and the Facebook group.
Okay. Yep. You can post it in the Facebook group, and you can send it to my email, and I'll take a look at it. But in this forum, there's no way to do that. So I love.
Is that
soda tricky? You're using the scientific names, white-throated sparrows. Absolutely. It caught me off guard there for a minute. They don't get many people using the scientific names. That's good. Beautiful bird. And they are zonotrichiids. We get three of the four zonotrichiids right here every winter. Coffee can lid. I just sent one out with recycling, but I bet. Yeah, that may work as well. I think it's worth experimenting. If you have really bad starling problems, Sandy, I would give it a try. Like I said, anything's worth an effort. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you haven't really wasted any money or anything. So I was just shocked because they were still here and at the nest. Yeah. They are definitely territorial. No doubt about it. My blue jays visited my feeders all spring and summer, all day long, every day. That's because the acorns. Kentucky nurse, they right now blue jays are storing acorns, and they're very acorn dependent, oak dependent birds, and that's a lot of what's going on with jays. If you have a good acorn crop, you're going to be missing them for a while because they're going to be busy occupied with those, but they'll be back. We're going to prefer the seed blocks over loose seed in winter. Yep, I can believe that. That's woodpeckers to cling onto those seed blocks is a natural thing. I can see why that would be attractive to them.
That's the link to the roosting.
That's the link to the roosting pockets. Okay.
And that's me answering about the picture.
Okay. It touched the birdie obelisk. Not sure. I missed something there, maybe. Love the picture of the Cardinal today. That picture of that Cardinal is actually on the side of my box truck. Straightforward. Yeah, that's the we have our box truck is wrapped, and on one side is that Cardinal picture, and the other side is a Baltimore Oriole picture. There's summer and winter sides of our truck that we have in our parking lot. So a lot of people have found it. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's make sure I've got everything covered that I'm going to. Yeah. All right. So yeah, again, this time of year, it's all about getting those birds in to enjoy and love for better viewing. And it's very slow in some areas, and it is really actually going pretty well in others, especially to the north. I do think, again, don't forget about the water. Make sure you got an unfrozen, clean source of water for the birds. And they'll come in. They're going to, it depends on natural food, a lot like the blue jays and the suet. We talk about this time of year being slower for a lot of that. But they're coming. As long as when stress goes up, freezing and thawing starts knocking that seed to the ground, that's when they come in. Like I said, goldfinches are filtering back in now. They usually consider sorry, TikTok folks. The phone fell for some reason. So the goldfinches, we consider the kind of the official season December through July. So they're going to come back in, and remember, not going to be yellow anymore when they come back in. So, all right, let's see. Thank you. Yeah, I don't. If you guys watch, whenever Melanie's out of town, I'm by myself. We don't get to do the posting of the links and stuff because I can't do all that and do this as well. So yeah, she's a giant help, and Sophie's been a help tonight too. She's just not really active. She decided to sleep through this one. A whole peanut wreath, and yep. I guess I can't compete with nature. That's right. That's exactly, yeah. And we, you can't compete against Mother Nature. You just know that it's going to get better. No doubt about it. Oh, absolutely, Steve. Thanks for joining in. I hope things are well there in Tennessee. Thank you for joining us in. Juncos and Cardinals love the pond right now. Again, Kurt, with that big water source that you've got for them right there in these dry conditions, I bet you are getting a lot of attention. That is excellent. And somebody asked the other day, I heard about that when they watched that video that we did about your is it a danger for mosquitoes? And I was explaining to them, you keep the water moving, you keep that surface water broken so the mosquitoes can't lay their eggs on it, and you got a couple of things to make the water move, and that definitely is a way to keep the mosquitoes at bay. Absolutely. Native landscaping is your biggest friend. It can be a little bit of competition with your bird feeders, but that's okay. It'll bring them in, and when conditions get harsher, those birds are going to come right into your bird feeders as well. So, absolutely, we really appreciate your support of the channel. Absolutely, just a hint right now. In about a week or so, be looking for an email or about a sale coming up on the online store. In a week or so, we're going to have a coupon out there that you can write your own sale, and we'll get that out there.
They need to join the email list.
Yeah, definitely make sure you're in the email list so you'll get that. All right, I will take a look at that, Lily Pat, and I'll get right back with you. Yeah, we'll see look at the pictures, and we will make an identification. So let me see if I can look at that real quick. I don't know. All right. Well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Like I said, you guys are great. We really appreciate the support. I hope you're enjoying the series I'm doing on the birds of your area. I did the Northwest this past Monday, And then I think next I'm doing the birds of the Southwest, winter birds of the Southwest. So it's been a really fun project for me to put those together, because I know we have, you guys are joining us from all parts of the country, and hopefully you're enjoying seeing some of those birds. All right, lily pad. Let me see if I can get this picture to come up real quick. Oh, that definitely Eastern bluebirds. Yep. The red throat. Those are bluebirds, lily pad, no doubt. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning birds. All right. Thank you too, Carrie. Absolutely. You're welcome, Jan. Thanks for joining in. All right. You're welcome, Carol. And Jay, thanks so much for joining in. So, everybody, have a great evening. Take care of yourselves. Watch for videos. We'll be on live again in a couple of weeks. I may have a special guest. I'm trying to get that arranged, so we have a special guest in a couple of weeks, and hopefully I can make that work out. We can get our schedules to mesh. So, everybody, have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much. Until next time, come by. Let's talk birds.